Welcome to the Beyond Cinema and Celebs.com lounge here at the Toronto International Film Festival, Dror Moreh. Firstly, just tell me, sitting down to talk with half a dozen former heads of the Shin Bet, this amazing counter-terrorism organization, how do you even go about getting that access to begin with and getting the approvals, for these people to share some stories?
I actually wanted to do that for a long time, and I asked myself, what will be the best way to enter this circle of people who nobody knows or how to reach them. So because I did the Sharon films, they knew who am I. So I kind of approached one of them and told him that he was a minister then in the government, so it took me quite a while to get there. And I told him, when I got the meeting, I told him what I wanted to do, basically to tell the story of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but from their point of view, from those people who are, I would say, in the heart of the defense establishment of Israel, who deals with the Palestinian all their lives, basically know the conflict better than anybody else. And when he understood exactly what I wanted to do, he said, okay, I will be inside. And then I said, can you please give me the numbers of this, and can you please call them and tell them that I'm going to talk to them? He said, I will do that. And this is how the process started. It wasn't easy. The old man was really, really tough nut to crack. But at the end, when they understood what I wanted to do, they all agreed to come.
Did you show them the film before taking it anywhere else?
No. The first time that they saw the film was in the Jerusalem Film Festival. The screening was horrible for me because I sat in their place. I tried to understand. I saw the film from their eyes, not from my eyes, and it wasn't easy.
Were you sitting near them?
Yeah, very near them.
And what was their reaction?
Look, with these kind of people you don't know, but most of them, the responses were very, very positive. Very, very positive. The old man only said, Avraham Shalom, never ever spoke in front of a camera before that about his work, and especially about the 300 bus incident, which basically ended his career. So he said to me after that in a phone call, he said, you didn't crack enough the politicians, you should have been more harder on the politicians. There were different responses. Carmi Gilon, who was the head of the Shin Bet while the Yitzhak Rabin assassination, I didn't see him after the screening. He went away immediately. And he called me the next day and he said, listen, I had a horrible night. The film brought up all the emotions that were buried in me after the assassination of Rabin. He was the head of Shin Bet while Rabin was assassinated. And he said, I couldn't sleep. But it's a very important film, and I'm so happy that I was in that, and I think it would be taught in every school, all this kind of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. And then taking it to Telluride and having the response there as well. What's interesting to me is there's a lot of films right now that are playing that are also from the Palestinian side of the conflict. So you have both sets of films traveling around the film festival circuit right now. How is that for you as a person, meeting these other filmmakers who are telling it the other side of the story, or their side that has their natural biases, your side, everyone has an opinion, obviously. Is there a sense of camaraderie between you, or is there a heated debate, and do you avoid each other or embrace each other?
We embraced each other warmly.
Is that
Ziad and me, Ziad Dueri was in the Telluride Film Festival, and we became, I don't want to say best friends because we're not friends, but I'm really fond of him, and he said that he's fond of me. So we are really, he showed the conflict, the attack, his movie showed the conflict from his point of view. But in the city that I live, in Tel Aviv, basically tell the story, which basically he asked me, what do you think about the film? I told him I think that it would be much harder for you to show the film in Arab countries than in Israel. Because I felt that his film is very, very balanced. It's not, portraying. This is also what I try to do in my film. To show a balanced film, that anybody that sees that film will not say, it's someone who tries to characterize the Palestinian as the victims and the Israeli as the aggressor, or the vice versa, the Israeli as the victim and the Palestinian as the aggressor. It's a real account of the conflict, in my point of view, coming from those 6 people who are the most influential, understanding, whatever you want to call them, of that conflict.
So talk about the Shin Bet for a second. Okay. How does it relate what's the difference between the Shin Bet and say the Mossad?
Shin Bet is responsible for what I might compare him to the FBI, but they have more authority than the FBI, because basically they're dealing with terror which comes from the occupied territories. They are the one that controls intelligence-wise all the West Bank and Gaza. Now not Gaza, because Gaza was in 2005, it's a different story. But they are the organization that takes care of that. The Mossad can be compared much more to the CIA, which deals with the outer world. All his activities are in the outer world, not inside, within Israel and within the occupied territories.
And so how many hours of footage did you shoot with these 6 guys?
Shooting was around 60 to 70, but I have, with interviews with them, I mean, I did also a lot of research with them, and before I got into the interview, around 100 hours.
And final running time?
Of the movie?
Yeah.
It's 96 minutes. This was the most tormenting process in my life. I mean, it was so difficult because they have, I mean, in the movie there is only 2%. I have so much more inside the movie, inside the materials.
So what single thing, if you can identify it, did you have to leave out at that last minute that you wish you could have kept in?
The personal story of Avraham Shalom. Avraham Shalom was born in 1930 in Vienna. He saw Adolf Hitler coming into the Anschluss in Vienna. He saw Adolf Hitler speaking from the balcony. He suffered as a Jew the racism against Jews. He felt what it means to be a Jew in a country where the Jews are considered second-rate, third-rate, I don't know how to call it. And when Avraham Shalom says at the end of the movie of the Gatekeepers that we treat the Palestinians like the Germans in Second World War, not towards the Jews, but toward the Czech, the Polacks, or whatever, I think this is something that, because he comes from there, he has been there, he saw that, he experienced firsthand as a young boy. And when he does that connection, I think it was, for me, it was very, very painful to take that out.
Yeah. You talk about the effect it's had on a couple of these guys and how they've had to take some time to process it. For you, what is the most significant change you felt in yourself? Has it changed your opinion about the conflict? Has it changed the way you view things?
No, it made me much more understanding the failure of the leadership. And I'm talking now about Israel only, I'm not dealing with the Palestinians. The leadership in Israel failed completely. And I'm not talking now right or left, center, whatever you want. They failed because Israel is the strong part in that conflict. We should have known better, we should have done differently the things that and when it comes from their point of view, when it comes from the point of view of the people that were the center of the conflict, that sat with the leaders and know the quality of the decision making. And where they are telling me the leaders of Israel didn't want that, or didn't bother with that, or didn't really consider that, I mean the peace process, to bring Israel to a better future, was the most revealing part in what I got from those interviews that I did.
The other thing is that Arab Spring, obviously, over the last couple of years, has really kind of refocused attention on each specific country kind of striving for democracy or some change within their own countries. Of course, once the governments fall in those countries, we never know what that replacement's going to be. Yeah. Is there more hope now that the Palestinian-Israeli conflict will be, or is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict pushed to the back burner while all these countries are sorting out their own internal problems?
I think again, it's a point of leadership. I think that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict should be solved, no matter what happens with how you call it, the Arab Spring, the Arab Winter, the Arab whatever you can call that. I don't know what will come. I mean, I think that there is a tectonic move in the Middle East now. I mean, things that have changed there are amazing. What happened in Egypt, what happened in Libya, what is going to happen in Syria. It's tectonic changes. The earth is moving there, and we don't know how it will calm down and what will happen when it calms down. But this doesn't lift the responsibility of solving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The current Palestinian administration is the most, how will I put it in words which will not infuriate are the most convenient one for the Israeli to deal with. I mean, when Netanyahu now says, I'm for a two-state solution, with whom do you want to deal? If Abbas and Fayyad will go away, you want to deal with the Hamas? Do you want to deal with the jihad? I really don't understand it, and I think that the gatekeepers don't understand that as well.
And so the gatekeepers, do they have a key, or do they
Leadership.
Or is it a wall?
Leadership. Big, strong leadership that sees the future as it should, not from the perspective of how will I survive, how will I make the next day good, that looks into the future and says, okay, this is the point where Israel has to be. This is the point where I can take the region to. And I'm willing to take the consequences, to bear the risks that are there. Yitzhak Rabin did that. He was assassinated because of that. Anwar Sadat in Egypt did that and was assassinated because of that as well. Ariel Sharon, tried to do that, and tragically he was hit by a stroke and is still in coma until today. These are leaders, that I can look and say, okay, they don't consider their own good. They are seeing 2, 3, 10 steps ahead. I don't see that in the current Israeli administration, definitely.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.